Y10K Fractured. Chapter 7. Santron departed the palace at first light. He declined breakfast with the royal family, an unusual breach of courtesy, and took wing from the palace runway with his retinue, bound for Aramithica. Taurus and Gabrielle watched him go before turning back inside. "So," Taurus said as they walked toward the breakfast room, "what do you think of the idea?" "Grandmother joining Lothos on his next expedition?" Gabrielle considered it. "She may appreciate the suggestion. Whether she accepts it is another matter. It sounds like something she might have done in her youth. But now?" "What would I not do?" came a voice ahead of them. They entered to find the mayors already seated. "I was thinking," Taurus said as he approached, "that when Lothos sets out this spring, south and east this time, you might like to join him, a week or two beyond the valley." His mother raised a single eyebrow. Amentressa did not hesitate. "Taurus, don't be absurd. Mother would never—" "Grandmother? On an expedition?" Water added, amused. "Hardly." The Dowager Queen set her muffin and knife aside and regarded them both. "And why not?" she asked coolly. "I have an adventurous side. I no longer sit the throne. My circle grows tiresome. A week or two away in the spring might do me good." That earned her a pair of surprised looks. Taurus and Gabrielle took their seats. "Are you certain?" Taurus asked. "Quite," she said, already reaching for the Nipru berry preserves. "And I may return with some of Lothos' latest sketches. Who knows what he might uncover this time?" Across the table, Amentressa and Waterlily exchanged glances. "And here we thought bringing Nekabit Countess Stirlingfield into your circle would be the most interesting development," Amentressa said dryly. "The times are changing," Taurus said. "The valley needs new voices. I am glad you have chosen to include the Countess when she debuts." "She has already made something of a reputation," Waterlily replied. "Intelligent, well-spoken, her father allowed her an education equal to any courtier. She will fit well. She, Andrela, and a few others should make for a lively circle." "Let us hope for more than lively," Taurus said, drawing her attention back from her plate. "I would see real change come of it." "You and grandfather have already begun that work," Gabrielle said quietly. "With tools and innovations," Taurus replied. "The deeper change lies in the fabric of society itself." The palace lurched. The first shock of the quake struck without warning. Chairs scraped, dishes shattered, servants cried out. Everyone dove beneath the table as the stone floor shuddered beneath them. Commander General Prothos was awake early. By midday, his elevation would be formally confirmed. Until then, he made his rounds. He stepped into a smaller chamber near the palace infirmary, Dr. Lariat's domain. Eartherica was housed here. For the most part, she was stable, lucid even. But there were moments. Drifting, muttering, seeing what was not there. Porthos had brought her in as a guest when her neighbors could no longer manage her care. They had tried, longer than most would, but age and circumstance had caught up with them. Eartherica had become increasingly erratic, wandering at night, speaking to empty air, attempting to flee. Grief had hollowed her out. Estimates placed the disappearance of her youngest foals at nearly 15 years past. Somewhere between that loss and her reappearance in the fields, something in her had broken. "How is your patient?" Prothos asked quietly as he entered. Restless, Dr. Lariat replied, barely glancing up from his journal. She's muttering again. One word comes through clearly enough. Fire. She seems young for such decline, Prothos observed. 70 summers by my estimate, Lariat said. Poor nourishment, sustained emotional trauma. It compounds. Prothos inclined his head slightly. Were the guards I expelled last night located? This time Lariat looked up, sharp. A poor decision, he said bluntly. None survived the storm. We found one in the woodshed. He didn't last long after. Joden? Prothos asked. Lariat frowned. The bodies are in the cold storeroom. See for yourself. I'll not pretend to approve of what you did. Prothos did not respond. The doctor did not know what those stallions had been, what they might have done. Prothos moved on. The cold room was silent. He walked its length, unhurried, studying each face. Some were already set, frozen into stillness. At the end he had his answer. Joden was not among them. "Where did you go?" Prothos murmured. His earlier search of the barracks and office had yielded little. Fragments of information he already possessed. Anything of value Joden had taken or hidden. A scream shattered the silence. High, sharp, Eartherica. The palace jolted. Stone groaned. The floor lurched beneath his feet. Prothos moved instantly, dropping beneath a nearby slab as the structure shuddered around him. The quake rolled through the palace, carried on the edge of Eartherica's piercing cry. 15 days, Mitnar snapped, slamming his empty glass on the table. 15 days we've been kept here. Is this how he treats allies? We agreed to his plans. With a blade at our throats, Lycros said coolly, glancing toward Aprisian. Java's Sintram runs beneath nearly every major house in the kingdom, save the palace and Alterian castle. Aprisian did not flinch. You assume I was informed. I was not. Nor did Ericor, my most trusted stallion, see fit to enlighten me. Mitnar gave a short, humorless laugh as a servant refilled his glass with orchideous juice. Your most trusted stallion delivered you straight into Java's hand, he said. What does that tell you of his loyalty? Aprisian's expression hardened, but he held his tone. It tells me we proceed carefully. Carefully? Lycros cut in. We are already inside a web. There are layers here we do not see. Plots within plots. The only question is who survives when it tightens. Mitnar leaned forward. Then what do you propose? The floor shuddered beneath them. A low, grinding tremor rolled through the manor. What I propose, Lycros began. The quake struck in full. The walls groaned. Glass rattled. Something heavy crashed somewhere deeper in the house. Your lordships, this way, a servant called, already moving toward a reinforced doorway. Quickly, this chamber will hold. Another violent jolt cut him off. All three stallions surged to their feet and ran. Behind them, the manor roared as if it meant to tear itself apart. Where is my daughter? Lord Aramithika did not wait for ceremony as he entered the master's office. Tigris rose and bowed. My lord, enough. Where is she? The last report places her in the scarlet sitting room, Tigris said evenly, at her needlepoint lessons. Sandron blinked. Once. Twice. No, he said flatly. Yes, my lord, Tigress replied. I verified it personally. Lortid was equally surprised. There was a pause. I believe she is anxious for your safety, Tigress added. Santron said nothing more. He turned and strode from the room. Tigress followed at once. There was no time for explanation, not at that pace. They crossed the manor quickly, Santron's steps unbroken, purposeful. The scarlet sitting room lay just beyond the great hall, the most formal chamber in the house, reserved for the highest of company. Lord of Aramithica Santron and Arch-Steward Tigress, the chamber page announced as they entered. The room glowed in scarlet and gold. Nekabit did not look up. Her instructor did, springing to her feet in a hurried curtsy. Santron stopped. What in the... Nekabit finished her stitch before setting the work aside and lifting her gaze. Welcome home, father, she said with perfect composure. I am relieved to see you safe. The storm last night was concerning. Tigress kept his expression neutral. This was not the place for truth. Leave us, Santron said at last. Tigress inclined his head and motioned the instructor toward the door. She followed quickly. Out in the corridor, Tigress guided her away. How long have you been instructing the Countess? He asked. A few days, my lord, she replied. We missed yesterday. The storm came in before I could fly. And her progress? She's quite good, the mayor said, a touch of pride slipping through. Needlepoint and crochet. She's made scarves for the village foals. Has been at it nearly a year. Tigress led her into a small servant's lounge and offered her a glass of fruit juice. She has done nothing wrong, he said. Nor have you. The mayor blinked, uncertain. That, Tigress added dryly, is the difficulty. The floor jolted, hard. The glass leapt from the sideboard and shattered. Under the table, Tigress snapped, already moving. Now! The shaking intensified. A window frame warped with a crack, then gave way, sending shards inward as the manor shuddered around them. My daughter, this is unlike you. Father, Nekabit broke, the composure shattered as she threw herself into him. I thought you might have tried to fly home in that storm. Santron steadied her, surprised. So you take up needlepoint? He asked, not unkindly. To steady my nerves, she said, pulling back, forcing herself upright again. And crochet. I made scarves for some of the younger foals in the district. I intend to make more. Santron studied her. She was holding herself together by sheer will. As it happens, he said, guiding her toward the settee, I was detained at court. The storm kept me there. I had intended to return. You've heard about Cladista? Nekabit asked, setting her work aside. What of her? She's dead, Nekabit said. Her and the foal. That explained everything. Santron exhaled slowly. And Mavraven? No. Nekabit drew back, her expression hardening. I will not marry. She met his gaze, steady, unyielding. If you are so concerned for my safety, then teach me to fight, but I won't be paraded as a prize or used to produce heirs. I told Tigress as much. There are limits, Santron said. Swordsmanship is not... Last I checked, she cut in. It does not require a stallion to hold a blade, and I will not use poison. nor will I carry a stiletto meant for my own throat." Santron paused. She had him there. "Do you realize," he said, more measured now, "how difficult it would be to find someone willing to train you? Most would laugh at the request." "I don't need most," Mechabit replied. "I could ask Andrela, quietly, discreetly." Santron considered her. Stubborn, brilliant, unyielding. He had raised her that way. "You know," he said at last, "if you must look to Lamara, Count Amberset is said to be a respectable young stallion, closer to your age." "Father." The warning in her tone was unmistakable. "It is a consideration." A sharp metallic jolt cut him off. Dust sifted down from above. Mechabit's head snapped upward, and then she moved. She slammed into him, driving him off the settee and rolling them both beneath the low tea table. The chandelier came down a heartbeat later. It struck with a violent crash, toppling the settee and shattering into flame and crystal. Mechabit cried out. Pain. Santron shoved himself free, heart hammering. The room was tilting, groaning under the strain of the quake. Cracks spidered across the ceiling. The fallen chandelier had tangled itself around Mechabit's legs. Her skirts smoldered. The settee behind them had caught fire. "We have to move," Santron said, already working. He dragged the tea table further over her head. Whatever fell next, it might buy them a moment. The manor lurched again, and the ceiling above them did not look like it intended to hold.